Welcome to session 11. This one is about fittings and appliances, and perhaps it's not as important as some of the earlier sessions in terms of orientation, but nonetheless it is really important. There's quite a famous diagram in that Your Home book we talked about earlier, which says that on average homes use around 40% of the energy, and 40% of your energy bill goes into heating and cooling that space, followed by hot water and cascading into finally lighting, which tends not to use all that much. However, in a green home, because you've designed the home to require less heating and cooling, the proportion of those other loads actually becomes bigger. So your appliances end up being more and more important and a bigger component of your bill. It's a real shame if we go to all this effort to build a wonderful energy efficient green home and then we fill it with clunking old fridges and inefficient air conditioning units, and the client gets in and goes, well, hang on, I've still got a massive power bill. Well, actually that's because of the equipment in your home. So you may or may not have much of an impact on what the client chooses to put in that home, but where you do, you need to look at the star ratings of products, and that is a really good help to find the energy efficient one. So when it comes to ovens, and the SMEG ovens that Green Homes uses are all pretty good, you'll see a rating that allows you to compare different models so that you know that the one with the highest star rating is going to use less energy over its life. Same with the fridge. So that might be some of the prime cost items you put in the home. Look for the ones with the highest stars. When it comes to water, again, it makes a huge difference. The water, particularly if you're thinking about hot water that requires energy to heat, the less water you use, the better. Even without heating the water is quite expensive now, right around Australia, and probably going to become more so. So having a home that uses less water means that the occupants get a smaller water bill, which is good. There's a program called a WELS system, W-E-L-S, and that is the industry standard in Australia that sort of helps you compare different taps and products. If you're using a non-rated cheap shower head, it might use as much as 20 litres of water per minute. If you're using a 3-star WELS rated one, you'd expect it to use much closer to, say, 7 litres per minute and still provide a comfortable, a good shower. Also, if you think about any tap around the home, the amount of water that comes out per second or per minute that's open is really quite important, because your kids might put it on while they're cleaning their teeth, which they shouldn't do, of course, but you might put it on and then instead of wasting half a litre, you're wasting 2 litres in the same amount of time. So you should, just as a matter of course, you should be using WELS 3-star at least around the home for your taps. Same with washing machines. If you have an opportunity to put that in for somebody, just explain to them the benefit. And again, it is a cost benefit over the life of the product, the benefit of using water-friendly, higher star-rated devices. It certainly pays off in the long run. Lighting becomes a really important component of any home, but more particularly for green homes, because it is a greater percentage of the energy that they use. And also, if you are going to be looking to offset some of your energy supply with solar panels on the roof, you want to be using as little as you can. The advances in LEDs over the past few years have been extraordinary. So not only do you have lower use of energy, but actually the quality of the light is much better now. You might remember when LEDs first came out, it was pretty blue and full on. Now it costs more, but you can get a much nicer quality light so that it feels more natural to the occupants to be in. There's some value to be had in getting a lighting designer in, or some kind of expert in this field. It's like anything, there's more to it than meets the eye. But the specification of lighting as energy efficient LED and fluoro where appropriate becomes really important. You've got to think about task lighting, so lighting that's appropriate for what you're doing. In a kitchen, you don't want shadows around the back of your knife while you're cutting, so you'd be looking for more general lighting, which is why very often there are fluorescent lights in there, or rather dispersed sort of lighting, regular floods to avoid shadows. Whereas in a lounge room, when you want to sit down and watch telly, you just want a little bit of light so that when you stand up from the couch, you don't trip over the toys that are on the floor, because you can see them. So getting the appropriate lighting design and energy efficient design requires a good a good contractor, a good electrician with good relationships and good suppliers to get the best quality lighting you can for the price. And it just has a really important impact on the home. It'll just make it feel so much nicer if somebody walks into their brand new green home and it's lit beautifully, it's appropriate, it's sort of a big part of what shows off the home. So put some thought and energy into getting that right.